you attack the financial piece really well as well. The only thing that I would change, there was three things. So there was three things
Okay,
that I
okay.
do differently so far. Um, First thing is the what were you expecting piece. That's okay.
Hmm.
But I think in objection handling, it's where you want your call to be the tightest and most controlled that it could possibly be, right? So what
Okay.
were you expecting? There's a lot that we could expect to come from that answer. So
Mhm.
it's a lot of unknowns around the question. And when we ask questions in objection handling, we somewhat want to already know the answer to where we're
Mhm.
going, right? So you cleared the financial piece and you were like, okay, is it going to do this, this, this? And then you went to payment plans. You said, I know it's not going to put you out on the street or anything. You had said that, but I think we need to double confirm money. So this is something that a
Okay.
lot of people kind of gloss over, but it's like, okay, so you can make that work within what you actually have. You can make that amount work currently, right?
Mhm.
That $5,000. If they say yes, then great. If they say no, then at that point we can look at payment plans. But the reason I wouldn't have gone into payment plans yet is
Mhm.
because of the amount of fear this person has. So
Mhm.
I just basically crossed off no to the payment plans because there wasn't confirmation on the money yet that he could actually, like, it wasn't a firm thing. We just kind of went to it. I
Mhm.
think maybe in hopes that, that would solve it all, which I do that sometimes too, but I'm trying to break that. But basically, there was that piece. I would just say because there was so much fear and he brought up time, he brought up needing a day or two, making sure it
Yeah.
fits, making sure it's the right thing
And
for
then
him.
he did say commitment too, which I should have caught. Like commitment is
Yeah.
always a fear thing when someone says
Yeah.
this is what I
So
can commit to.
I think you went about it a good way in terms of attacking finances first. It just wasn't as confirmed as it needed to be. So I would say
Okay.
moving forward, it would just need to be, let's make sure we confirm finances in terms of can you afford it or can you not in terms of a binary for a yes or no. And then past that, when we hear so much fear, even if we do get the yes or no, then at that point, once we have the no, then we can solve for payment plans. Then it's like, okay, he said no to the full amount. Let's now look at payment plans and I want you to dictate it. So I don't want you to make it feel like he can bargain or there's like a certain amount that he can do or anything. It's like, okay, what most people do is they just kind of break it up in two, right? So they'll break it up into two payments. Or if you say, um, what you'd say is if you have a credit card, right, we can actually break it up over multiple payments. So what available balance do you have on your credit card? Then you can just get right to it because then you can go right to split it and it's a
Yeah.
confirmed path, right? And you don't have to throw out a number either. So
Mhm.
I would just say dictate your process in objection handling around money a little bit more to something that you can predict better. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah. Like be more in control.
Yeah, I
Of
would just say be more in control, but put it in a place where you always understand what your next step is. Like, it was, okay, let me get confirmation that they can or cannot afford this. Okay, you can't afford it. Great. Now we'll start talking about payment plans. If you can't afford it, then what's actually holding you back? And now we can assess the fear that you were just talking about, right? So I would just look at it from that context. If it should be kind of
okay.
robotic when you're at the bottom of the call, because it's where you're going to have the most emotion as a closer of things
Yeah.
just flying around in your brain. So you want a process that you can follow to a T every single time. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes. So when it comes to money, like just double reconfirm it. And then if it's
Yes.
like no, I can't, do it all up front. And then that would be like a payment plan
Yeah.
segue. But then basically figuring out again, like, okay, is it really fear? Like, is there anything
Mhm.
else that's like
Yeah.
stopping you from moving forward?
And if you offer the payment plans and you find something that he can make work with the amount of money he has, then at that point it's like, okay, great. So if you can make that work, let's go ahead, let's get everything started today and we'll get everything kicked off. And then he can give another objection.
I
Once you've
see.
solved everything logistical, then at
Mhm.
that point we can start confronting the fear. The problem was we bounced around a little bit. We didn't get
Okay.
extreme confirmation on money. Then we went into payment plans. And then after we went into payment plans, we still there was an underlying fear, but we kind of pushed into payment plans without confirmation of needing to. Does
Hmm.
that make sense? Hey, real quick. So, if you are in high ticket sales and you are absolutely struggling with discovery, you don't know what to do during objections, or just your pitch is a little bit shaky, overall, if you are having issues when it comes to taking money from your prospects, I want to help you. So, what I want to show you is basically an entire school community that I have of closers who are there to excel and there to do better. So if you want help from discovery, pitch, objections to just general key skills, follow up, referrals, anything that you can think of, landing roles when it comes to real sales mastery, there is help for you in this free school community. And then there's also essentially a calendar of coaching calls that you can actually join as well, where we will help you directly to improve your sales. We'll role play, we'll do call reviews, pretty much everything that you would need to be successful in sales. Okay. So if you want to join that, you'll also be able to see some of my live sales calls. Just click the link below and I'll see you there. Bye-bye.